Tonight, COVID is spreading among deer. It is happening quickly, and that is not the only concern.
Researchers have information about the potential virus transmission from the deer to humans. Here's Channel 5's Christian Von Pricey.
There's growing evidence from across the country in different studies that deer are contracting COVID. Now the question is, what happens to a deer if it gets sick? And more importantly, what happens to us if we're exposed to one of these deer? There are lots of questions, and now there's a study in South Texas to try to figure out that answer.
How do you get up close to a deer anywhere in South Texas? Unless you own a ranch, it might be a challenge, but here in Port Mansfield, the deer are accustomed to pretty frequent visitation. They get nice and close, says Adriana Herrera, who's here for the first time. What the public's still learning about white-tailed deer is that a large portion of them are carrying, or once did carry, COVID. It's not transmissible back to humans currently.
There's no evidence thus far that this virus is being transmitted from deer back to humans.
This is Dr. Douglas Watt, who studies viruses at UT El Paso. In 2021, they sampled the blood of 54 deer in Travis County. The results, 20 of them, 37% had COVID or COVID antibodies. That lines up with research in other states with COVID antibody rates anywhere from 7 to 67% in deer populations. Watt says there's no evidence that deer are getting anything but mild symptoms from COVID, and it currently can't be transmitted back to people. The point that Dr. Watts makes is that it's not just humans carrying the virus and serving as possible sources of mutation. Deer are also in the mix, and in large numbers. Going into 2022, the U.S. Census Bureau estimated there were nearly 30 million Texans in the state. Meanwhile, Texas Parks and Wildlife estimates there are 5.3 million deer running around. That means not 30 million possible hosts of the coronavirus, actually more like 35 million. The concern? A mutation is more likely to happen with a larger population.
If we see the same thing occur in white-tailed deer, then there's certainly an opportunity for variants to emerge. And it could be that some of these variants could be transmitted to humans and from human to human.
Closer to home, a deer study just wrapped up, but we don't have those results yet. Dr. Clayton Hilton, a researcher at Texas A&M Kingsville, says they just finished surveying some ranches in the region, and the findings are now being reviewed. And a study at Texas A&M by Dr. Sarah Hammer found a 94% antibody rate among deer at 3 captive facilities in Texas. As for monitoring for any future mutations, Dr. Watt says the USDA is requesting samples to keep watching.
Researchers will keep monitoring the population to try to get a clearer answer of just how badly the deer are being impacted. Christian Von Pricey, Channel 5 News.